Hi, everybody. I'm Audrey Moore with Audrey Helps Actors, and this is episode number 45, Feeling Alive, about your acting career, because you just did Self-Tape May. Oh, my God, you guys. Self-Tape May was amazing. And people took notice. I'm so excited about that. You know, it's such an active way to be like, something is happening here. There are a group of actors who are taking their work into their own hands. They are holding themselves accountable, holding each other accountable, being inspired, getting the work done. And through that, people are noticing and being like, what is this? What is this thing of knowing how you can manage and take hold of your own work and your own progress and process? And the best thing about it is, you know, you didn't have to go to a class to take all this learning and get all this knowledge. This is stuff that you can do by yourself at home. We had reps reach out to some of you guys, which I think is so cool. They saw your work. They saw it on social media, and so they reached out to you to discuss meetings. And this is what I'm talking about extroverting your talent. People have to know that your talent exists. Tons of people got suddenly a giant inflow of actual self-tapes, actual auditions. They got callbacks where they never had before. They got bookings when they never had before. And I just believe energy flows where attention goes. And so when you put the energy into taking your career seriously, taking yourself to the next level, booking, committing to transforming your craft into skill, my experience is you always get results. And I think that's so exciting. So yeah, I'm so excited. In total, we had 1,732 posts, and that's just on public. For many of you, you had private accounts. It didn't show up on that, but 1,732 public posts. You guys, that's amazing for 1 month. Isn't that just like so amazing for 1 month? I'm so excited to pick a winner. So here's what we're going to do. This week, I'm going to pick a winner. I've gone ahead and posted on Instagram. You'll see a post that says, raise your hand if you completed 16 self-tapes for Self-Tape May. What I want you to do is comment your name on that, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the names and then I'm going to put your little names in little strips and I'm going to do a drawing. And then whoever I draw, I'm going to then watch your 16 self-tapes and just make sure that everything looks like you're not a cheater, pumpkin eater. And then we're going to find a way to put you on the podcast, no matter where you are. So I'm super excited about that. And I'm really proud. And, you know, listen, if you didn't do all 16, I don't care. Because if you did any, that's really big. I want you to know, if you are one of the 100 or so people who got to 16 self-tapes, that makes you like in the 1%. And that's some Olympic level shit. And if you did any at all, you're probably in like the 5%. That's also huge. So please don't be hard on yourselves. Okay, so a few shout outs to some people that I want to just shout out as far as like partnering. I'm going to shout all of you guys out over time, but this is really important, okay? Because I love the communities that you guys have created and formed. I think it's so great. There were like self-tape parties happening with a group of people that would come together and they would help each other bang out some self-tapes, which I love. I want to shout out to Danielle and Allison from Accountability Bays. These two girls, man, they were getting up at like 5 a.m. to get it done. I love that. We've got RNA self-tapes. Oh my God, this is a married couple and they're helping each other do their self-tapes, and their self-tapes are really good. I'm so proud of you guys. I think you both are so castable. So yay to you. I also want to shout out to Ingrid from Norway. Look up Ingrid, you guys. She's on the self-tape. She's all the way up in Norway, crushing it. Also, I want to do a shout out to Erin McShane. Erin had gotten pretty far, and unfortunately, she is from the hometown of Virginia Beach, and her intentions of finishing were obviously thwarted because of a very tragic mass shooting. So if you want to reach out to Erin and give her the love, I think that would be very nice of you. Okay, so just a reminder, winner is going to get a signed Audrey Helps Actors towel. Don't forget your towel with a button attached to it. Also, we're going to give a 1-year subscription free to weaudition.com. So many of you guys have been using it. I love that you're using it and that you're finding other tools to keep yourself going and just refresh before something. Also, you're going to get an interview with me. Yay! Be on the podcast. I'm so excited. All right, you guys. Today on Audrey Helps Actors, we have Amy Linden. Amy Linden is back. You guys, Amy Linden gives great interview. That's what I have to say to you. Just a heads up. I got a little feisty in this one. So this is an Audrey Yells at You episode. So apologies in advance. I got passionate. But we talk about so many great things, including self-tapes, including more information. She talks about getting more information. And when you get more information, that's when you book. And that's why I'm so proud of this self-tape thing, because so many of you got more information about your life, about the way it's set up to help or not help you receive and execute your auditions, about the way you move or the way you act in certain things that are maybe tells that you're not quite in. And so many of you learned the value of the one take, which is exactly what I practiced for so long, because the one take used to piss me off. And so I got better at it. All right, you guys. This episode is sponsored by WeAudition.com. That's WeAudition.com. I had another person call me and it was like, I just used WeAudition for the first time before a workshop so that I could work on my workshop scene out loud with a normal person. And wouldn't you know, they loved it. So WeAudition.com, promo code Audrey25. And then we also have a new one, Audible.com. You're going to go www.tinyurl.com/AudreyBooks. Audrey Books all the time, you guys. That will give you 2 free books. 2 free books. tinyurl.com/AudreyBooks for 2 free books. All right, you guys. I hope you're on your way to an audition. I hope you booked it. And I love you. Book that job!
Audrey helps actors because they don't know anything.
Hi, everybody. I'm Audrey Moore with Audrey Helps Actors. And today we have...
Amy Linden.
Yay! Amy's back!
Yay!
Return at the Amy Linden. I like it. It's a good sequel.
Yes.
It's going to be the best sequel.
Yes.
So Amy and I, this is going to be a really fun one because we always get together and we gab so many of the really important things that I know you guys are really desperate to hear that nobody tells you. Like, that's why I think that your last episode resonated so well with people, is because we were really talking so honestly about so many things. So Amy and I
people want the truth.
They want the truth.
They don't want to be stroked, you know?
It's hard to tell people the truth. It can be challenging because you know that what they're going to hear is going to maybe be a little bit painful in the beginning. But from my experience, it's always because they know that it's coming from a place of care and wanting to see them expand and wanting to see them get better.
Yeah, for example, I had a guy that we sent out his package, and when he shows up with his U-Haul.
Oh, gosh.
Okay? What I mean is, it's like beep, 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 beep.
Oh, God.
And everything that happened to him, maybe for his whole life, he comes in the room with.
I know.
Okay?
I know.
And so I said to him, listen, when you're going to see agents, that's probably the last time you're going to see them in front of them.
Yes.
Because it's not like it was years ago.
Right.
So you might see them again at a Christmas party.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Right.
But
or to come sign your contract
exactly.
again. Right.
So your first impression is going to be everything.
Yeah.
And so you already qualified because they liked your look, they liked your package.
Right.
Now they want to see is whether or not you're insane.
That's it.
That's
literally what they're trying to
exactly.
see. Right, yeah.
So it's like an insanity check.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So I said to him, listen, we're going to have to work on you. Go kick a bag, go take a hot bath. Go buy something on sale. Do something.
Yeah, buy something on sale.
Well, that's how I am.
It really does it for me, too.
It does it for me.
Oh, my God.
Just go buy something on sale.
Exactly.
Get a great deal. And use a coupon, for God's sake.
Please.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, the point is that I said, you have to come in like a clear, beautiful slate.
Yeah.
Because this person in front of me looks like I'm not sure I want to work with you.
Well, it's dating. That's why I always tell people, it's like you go on a date and in the first date, don't spend the whole day talking about all the bitches that broke your heart. Don't do it. Because now you just sound like a jerk who's going to call this next person a bitch that broke your heart.
Yeah, they want to get in business with you, the person.
Yes.
And you have to just stay clear and happy. People want to be in business with people that are happy, actually.
That's the best advice I can tell you. Listen, it shouldn't be fake. It shouldn't be manufactured. But even if you're a person who's like really has a hard time being down, there are things that you can feel a little lighter about.
Just think about your hobbies, like what do you love to do?
Or the fact that you have an agent meeting today, just let that be the thing that like makes you happy and grateful today. One of my biggest intentions for season 3 is honestly to demystify this attitude about what it takes to be a working actor and sort of scruff off all of this casual attack on the profession. And you and I are famous for talking about it like the Olympics. And my new favorite analogy is listen, a lot of you love to ski, but you do not want to be an Olympic skier. You would never decide, I'm going to go be an Olympic skier, because you know that the work and the money and the pressure and all the things that it takes to be an Olympic skier is really high. But you love skiing. And so you go skiing, and it's a really fun thing that you do, and you're interested in spending some money on it.
And you have to ask yourself, are you approaching your acting career just because you love acting?
That's it.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, I'm like, love acting, go. This girl emailed me and she was like, I think actually I want to do this other thing and just also do acting. And I was like, go, please. Please do it. Because when we're talking about wanting to be an Olympic athlete, that's a different pursuit than just wanting to love ice skating.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. A lot of people come to me and they come with a lot of training and a lot of, besides baggage, a lot of training, And they wonder, Amy, I went to Juilliard, or I went to this school, I went to that school, I went here and I studied here. I don't understand. Why aren't I booking? Because, And so I'm like, well, just because you know how to act doesn't mean you know how to book.
Can I just wait? Can you say it again, please?
Just because you know how to act doesn't mean you know how to book.
Wait, I want to pause because I'm gonna we're gonna add so many applause sound effects and pew pew, explosions of fireworks, because that is so true, and that's why people are so devastated in this town and in this industry in general.
And we've lost some great actors. Not that they passed, they just left the business, and it really sucks. Because breaks my heart. Booking is a separate beast.
It is,
and you guys need to really get that booking is a separate beast.
Well, that's the thing that I had a conversation with a friend of mine, because she had just asked me to watch some of her self-tapes, and so I had, and I said, here's the thing, you're so good. I mean, she is good, and her self-tapes were so lazy. And I said, you need to be as incredible at your self-tapes as you are at your acting. It's
really interesting because, you would think because you have
all the time
in the world.
But that's why I think that so many of these really trained actors get upset, is because so many of them go into it for the performance, for the camaraderie, for the exchange, right? The exchange between the audience and the actor.
Right. And there's no exchange on a self-tape.
And there's no even how many of you are there? How many are they going to even watch it? It does feel like it's going into such a black hole zone of despair.
Right, but that's not why you do it.
Well, that's what I said to her. Is I said, here's the thing, and this is what I say to all the actors about self-tapes in general, is I say, you feel like you don't want to do it, which is an attitude problem, which I understand. Amy and I are always coming from empathy. We get it, you guys. And I said, but you are willing to go into class and pay money to act.
Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me started on this.
You're willing to do that. You're willing to do that.
And bring your suitcase with all your stuff.
And pay to do all that work.
But then when you get an opportunity.
That might actually lead to work, even if it doesn't lead to that job, may lead to a relationship, may lead to an impression, which is all we're doing is just trying to give lasting impressions so they remember you, so they think about you. And it will cost you literally the time it takes, like, will it maybe cost you if you're going to a place for setup? BTW, guys, get your setups. Like, it's on my website. Everyone's done it. Just go get them. Just make it happen. And the cost of like having a friend come over, having your roommate, having your boyfriend or your husband or your wife come over and do it with you. And that's what it's costing. And I'm like, so now we're talking about ego and we're talking about pride. Because what you're going to get from the class experience is this validation of like, oh.
Well, yeah. Well, everybody, it's too comfortable.
But again, acting versus booking.
Yes.
And it's like such a thing. And it's really hard to hear and it's hard to teach. And there are some of you that you need to be putting your hours into acting. You really do. Some of you need to be putting more time into the acting part. But a lot of you are ready to book. Mm-hmm. And listen, a lot of the people in your acting classes you spent those years with, a lot of them are going to become creatives. A lot of them are going to become writers, producers. And so those relationships are valuable. I'm not dogging on the relationships and the time you spent in those, but
time takes, you got to be real with yourself and say it's time.
Is it time?
Is it time?
If it's time, are you continuing to extrovert your talent in a way that is successful to you? And for so many of you, you have to like ask yourself, this happens so often where people talk to me and I'm like, listen, who knows how good you are? Who knows how good you are?
You need strange love. I call it strange love.
Oh, I love that
idea. Love from strangers. You know, I'm talking about
I love that.
I'm talking about the good kind.
Yeah, strange love.
Strange love.
Yeah.
And you know, your mom and your people in class and your friends will tell you how great you are. There's nothing better than a stranger saying, you know what? You're really good. Mm-hmm. Or you want the room to move towards you.
Yes.
And you want the casting director to say, where did you come from? Yeah, years ago, we used to come in with a picture and resume, and they used to turn over the resume and go, where did you come from? And that's what you want.
Yes.
Like, you want to walk out of the room very fast and really slow to your car. Because you want them to chase you.
Yes.
And they will.
Yes. Can I just have a moment about that in my own personal journey? Because I like to give people context about the journey part of it. That, first of all, when I started getting out of class and going into fixing some of the like nuts and bolts that I realized needed fixing, because I was the person that every time I was in class, you know, everyone was like, this is the best and blah, blah, blah. And I had realized that I had reached a level of being one of the people that everyone looks forward to in class, right? Everyone looks forward to their work, which is a great place to be in. And then I realized my statistics didn't reflect that. And so I had some things I needed to figure out. So I came to Amy. I started taking, various classes. I started doing some workshops around town just to figure it out. And here's what happened, you guys. I was like going to my car crying regularly, so regularly. And I hadn't realized the amount of ego I was protecting in how good I felt about myself and my talent when there was this gaping hole that was essential to transform myself from being a really incredible actor to a booking, working actor. There was like a giant cataclysmic pit of despair that was separating me, and I had to grow and get better. And I want you to know that, because if you are then scared to go do that next step, that's right. You're scared because probably what's going to come from it is going to be a lot of confront, that you're really good in one area of this acting world, but you're not good in this other area. And I say to people, okay, so you spent this much time on being an incredible actor. How many hours, honestly, because they like hate auditions. And I say, I've been there. How many hours have you put in to being great at auditioning? And they're like, I mean, not many.
Guys, I just have to say something.
Yeah.
And you know how much Audrey works, right? She came to me last week and we went over.
Yes.
Yeah, why don't you talk about that for a second?
I'd love to talk about that. Okay, let's talk about statistics, right?
But that's what I'm talking about.
You're right.
It's like, it doesn't matter what level you're at.
Right.
She's a champion. She wants to be even better.
Well,
she wants to get the next series regular.
Yeah.
She wants to get an Emmy.
Yes.
That's what she wants.
Yeah.
So we looked at self-tapes.
And my statistics in general, because I've really come to see, like, your statistics don't lie, you guys. If you're like, I'm such a great actor, But I haven't had any callbacks, and the one booking I had was the short film I submitted. I'm like, those are important statistics for you to be watching. And so I was looking at my comedy statistics, and I was looking at my drama statistics and noticing that there was a difference. And then I go back and I watch all the things that I've ever auditioned for. And I self-tape everything I'm about to audition so that I have the evidence. So it's not like something that I'm making up how great I was, right? Because you can like make up how great you are or how terrible you were, right? So I self-tape it. For, in like the outfit I'm going to wear, like just before I go in, what I'm going to do. If I watch it and I think it needs a little adjustment, I maybe will adjust it a little bit. And then I know like that's pretty much what I went in the room to do. And I was noticing for my comedy, there was a lot of effort that I was doing that I wasn't seeing in the performance once it landed on television by another actor. And I
Hold on, wait a minute. Can I just note?
Yes.
Do you see that, guys? She got the audition.
Right.
She studied it and then put it on tape before she even went in the room.
Yes.
Do you see the amount of work?
Yeah.
And then she analyzed who got the audition.
Yes.
I mean, who got the job.
Yes.
And the reason why they might have gotten the job. And then analyzing, you see what I'm doing, guys?
Yeah.
And so if you want to get to the next level in your life, do you see the amount of work that she does with each audition? Okay, go on.
So I was looking at the data. And again, this isn't one comedy audition. When you guys like come to Amy and you've got like one audition and you're trying to like base your whole career off of that one audition, I'm like, we don't have enough data. But I had like, a solid dozen to more comedy auditions over the last year, and definitely more if I included the previous years, where I could see the discrepancy between the effort I was putting into the audition versus the ease of the performance of the person who was booking it and who had done it. And I knew there was just a misdirection, like a misaim on what that was.
Yeah, you were. It's called the missing piece to the puzzle.
Right.
So you were missing a piece.
And you guys know I'm really great at solving pieces to the puzzle, but I tell people all the time, no matter what level you're at, I so encourage you to have one or two or three people that are masters at what they do, who can look at your work and just give you a little perspective. And it's not as emotional as it used to be, because I now know it's not because of my failing. It's not because Audrey's just not good. It's not because Audrey's like a terrible actress who misses the mark and she's just bad at comedy. Like none of that is true. In fact, what's happening is I keep getting called in. I keep getting called back in. I'm getting pinned. I'm getting a lot of like positive response, but not the like sealing the deal response.
The close.
Yeah, the close. And so I knew there was like a gap that I couldn't quite put my finger on. So I had been preparing for this meeting with Amy that I knew was coming, because Amy didn't know it was coming, but I knew it was coming, and really saving things and saving data and saving auditions. And so I showed them to you, and we came to some really powerful conclusions. So one of the notes I was getting was about, it's these general notes that you guys sometimes get of like throw it away or be more grounded or, any of those sorts of things. And it's a hard note for me because Audrey, I just am really excited as a person. Like I have a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy. I know Amy's the same way. Like we have a big appetite for existing, right? And so it's easy for me to think like, oh, well, they just can't handle all my energy. Like they just can't handle all of this jelly. Like I'm just like such a wobbly ball of jelly. And
all this goodness.
Yeah. And they like it, but they just isn't solving it, right?
Yeah.
And she said about comedy in specific, in this single camera, she said, it's not about the joke, it's about the relationships. And she said, you're playing the comedy of the comedy instead of the drama of the comedy.
Well, the single space, single camera, the joke is not the star. It's the behavior between the two people in a juxtaposition that they put together.
Yes.
That's what's funny.
Yes.
And so you guys stop worrying about C. Just do A plus B and stop worrying about C. C will happen if you do A plus B.
But can we talk about some examples about that? Because I just love that. I think it's so true. Look at what you loved about The Office and why you continue to binge it 4, 5, 6 times in a row is because, yes, while there's a lot of funny things that's happening, you care about the relationship between Jim and Pam. You care about the relationship between Michael and
Also,
Dwight, which is
and
so much
that's it.
easier. Can I tell you guys?
It really is.
That's like 1,000 times easier. So I got an audition,
Oh, good.
and it was a dramedy, which was a good warm-up, right?
Yes.
And I could see the opportunities to make it more like, to make more of a meal out of it. But it was the series lead. And so I knew, like, if they're going to do the series lead, they need to be inspired by what Audrey is going to bring to the table. Like,
Yes,
they want to write for Audrey
exactly.
for X amount of years.
Do
for
we
X amount
want
of
to see
episodes.
her every week?
Yeah. Do we want to see her? Is she engaging? Do
Yes.
we think that she cares? Do we care
Can
for
she
her?
carry a show?
Can she carry a show?
Your personality is what's going to sell the tickets. Of course, you have to do the style of the show and what
Yes.
the show is telling
Yes.
you and everything about it, but
But-
you have to show up.
And the freedom I had
Yes.
in focusing on the relationships
It really
over
does for you.
anything else, I was like, oh, well, I know how this is. And I could take the situation and personalize it and go, okay, so I have these relationships all the time. There's a scene where I'm trying to make somebody feel better. All I do is try to make people feel better. So
Exactly. So
perfectly
you know how to
normal
do that.
me. Absolutely, right? And then the other scene was me being sort of like aghast and horrified by someone else's behavior. I'm an actor. I hang out with lots of actors. I know what it is to be aghast and horrified by somebody else's behavior, right? And also not make a moment out of it, but be like, oh my God, like this person is not okay. Like that's just the relaxation and the freedom. And I'll tell you, my vocal tone is different.
You were in your body this time.
That's it.
Yeah, I always say to people, and it's really important that you guys know this, that it is not your talent, it is your approach.
Yes.
And so I really need you guys to know that it is never your talent, it's your approach. Now, if it is your talent, you'll know it.
Yes.
But I'm absolutely certain that if you're at a level where people are starting to call you in, I'm certain it's your approach.
When you said to me, this was like, because she's a genius. When she
Wait. Could you say that again?
Because she's a genius.
I love that.
When she said to me, they're giving you these notes of like, you know, throw it away, ground it, all of that. That's because there's a piece missing. And they don't know how to tell you how to fulfill that piece.
They just know
And-
when they see it.
And she said, and so somebody else is coming in with that piece filled.
And they're taking your job.
And they're taking your job. And she said, and they may not even be as practiced, as rehearsed, as familiar with the tone, as any of that as you are.
But they are that person.
But they're bringing that thing filled.
Yes.
And they're getting the job.
Yes.
And I was like, ding, 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 that's true, that's true, that's true.
Casting directors are not acting coaches, okay? If you're on, then you'll get it. But it's not their job to make you on.
Right.
You understand? And so if you don't book it, it's because something's missing. Now, if you keep going into the same room over and over and over again, it's because something's missing if you're not booking it. They're bringing you in because it makes them look good because you're great.
Yes.
It makes them look good.
Yes.
It's not their job to close the deal. That's your job.
That's exactly right.
And it's also not their job to explain to you what's missing because they don't know.
Yes.
They just know it when they see it.
But wait, Amy, wait. I have to interrupt you.
Help me. I need some help.
And now it's time for listener questions.
I'm so scared.
This listener question is brought to you by weaudition.com. That's weaudition.com, promo code Audrey25. You guys go on We Audition. A lot of you are joining it. You know, I did We Audition like last week. And in the middle of my We Audition, I got the information that I booked this job. And it was so funny. I was like, I'm so sorry. I have to like get off of here so that I can like go accept this job. And they were like, great. And then the person totally said, book it, which I love because it was a listener. So I called that person back to start over again. And they ended with like, I love your podcast. And I was like, I love you. So I love it. The community is on there. You guys are getting money as readers from weaudition.com. And you're also using We Audition in order to practice and, just run some lines and get some things in your body, which I love. So promo code Audrey25.
Hey, Audrey. I'm a listener from Los Angeles, just moved here a couple months ago. I just wanted to pick your brain. I have two questions for you. The first is, when we're doing casting director workshops, what types of scenes do you recommend we pick? So, for instance, I know for me, I'm a shoo-in for any of the procedural dramas, but I know that those scenes aren't necessarily the most exciting. They're very straightforward in terms of format. Is that still something I should be putting out there at these workshops to be like, bam, here you are. Here's my casting. Put me in this tomorrow. Or should I be trying to find something that offers me a little more to do acting-wise to demonstrate more of my skill? Okay, that's question number one. Question number two has to do with hair coloring. I recently booked a role that wants me to dye my hair red, and I am a natural blonde, and I've never dyed my hair before. So I just wanted to pick your brain about, is it worth it? It's mostly a question for me, I suppose, because I am a natural blonde, and I've never dyed my hair, and every hairdresser in the world is like, oh my God, don't touch it, don't ever do anything to it, because you might never get your natural hair color back. So I guess I'm wondering, at what point does dyeing my hair for a role become worth it? And also, this is a non-union job, so it's not like it's paying me a butt ton of money. So that's where I'm at. Great. Look forward to listening to your answer on the podcast. I love what you're doing, so thank you so much. You've helped me so much. Awesome. Bye.
Hey, girl. Hey. So thanks for listening. And I love these questions. Okay. So first of all, I pretty much strongly disagree with you about procedural scenes. I think procedural scenes are fantastic. I think they fit the mold of what is on television most of the time. And there's all kinds of really great characters. I think the thing that's most important for a workshop scene is A, it's absolutely in your casting, and B, that there is a turn in the scene. They should be no more than 2.5 pages. More than that screams novice, unfortunately. So you want to keep it to no longer than 2.5 pages. And you just want to make sure that how the scene ends is different than how it begins. So a great procedural scene is one where you come in thinking that you're guilty for something rather innocent that they're bringing you in for, stealing some liquor from the bar or, sending packages illegally to your mom. And in actuality, they're bringing you in for having killed your roommate or having, exploded a bomb. So that's a strong turn in the scene. Usually there's opportunities for lots of emotional range when you do that, because you start off maybe a little innocent and a little naive, and then you realize you're in deep trouble. Or there's a turn of you coming in with an attitude problem, and then they get you to confess to something that you've done because that person just really deserved to die. Something like that. So I love a good procedural scene, and I only caution you that you do procedural scenes in workshops where they're doing procedurals. And don't do a procedural scene from the actual show that you're going in for. So if you're going in for a workshop for, say, Lucifer, don't do a scene from Lucifer, do a scene from NCIS. If you're going to do a workshop for, a Chuck Lorre multicam show like Big Bang Theory or Mom, please don't go in and do a scene from Criminal Minds. That would be my suggestion to you. So if you like procedurals and you think they're really great for you, there's plenty of workshop people doing procedural shows, and I think that's a great way to go. What I have noticed from workshops in all my years of doing them is it's actually less about skill and more about clarity of casting. There are a lot of really great actors who would go in and do really great work, and then I would watch them and me for a long time never be called in. And then there would be people that I thought weren't doing as great work, but their casting was so clear and so specific that they would come in for week 2 of the workshop and they would have gone in for that casting director and then booked a job already. And I was like, no, life is unfair. This is terrible. And that's when I really started to learn that talent is one thing, clarity of casting is another. And so if you're doing workshops and you start to realize that clarity of casting is something that is maybe not coming through for you, then you'd want to go and you'd want to test that out and use workshops to your advantage to try some things out. I would start realizing that maybe my casting wasn't as cool and as sleek as I thought it was. So I started doing like sweet things, and I started doing like florally tops and, pastel sweaters and cute little heart earrings. And that's when I started getting more auditions from workshops, because that all started to sink in. So I have lots to say about workshops. Maybe I'll do a workshop episode. All right, you guys. Let's talk about hair. Okay, so this hair situation. I would never dye my hair for a non-union project, personally. And second of all, I wouldn't dye your hair unless you feel that hair color is something you've always been excited to try. If you book something and they want you to dye your hair and you're cautious about it, it's really hard to get a great red wig. So that's expensive for them. I would definitely fight for that. And other than that, I would turn the job down. I really don't like you guys doing non-union work, mostly because it's a safety issue. Safety first, safety first, safety first, safety first, safety first, safety first. The other reason I don't want you doing non-union jobs is because there's almost no way for anyone to make sure that you get paid. Typical turnaround for payment on a non-union job is about 6 months, and payment's not great. And that's mostly what I have to say about that. So if you were like, hey, they want me to dye my hair for this really cool film with Damien Chazelle directing, if you don't know who that is, look it up, then I would be like, oh my God, yeah, dye your hair red, work with Damien Chazelle. That sounds amazing. You're going to get great footage. You're going to see that footage again. It's going to be a relationship worth having, and people will remember that you did something, for the good of the project. Even then, they often will negotiate a pay bump. Sometimes not, but sometimes so. And that's when I think it's really worth it. I don't think it's worth it for a non-union job. All right.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
So I have a few topics that I really want to talk to you
Yes.
about. One of them is female representation as an acting teacher. For those of you guys who know, I have created a list on the Audrey Helps Actors website. That's just a list of female acting teachers that people have told me they like, that they recommend. I have lots of incredible male teachers that have been so helpful to me. Some of you may feel more comfortable with a female acting teacher. And Amy, you've taken all the class in the world. And
Yeah,
then
pretty
you've
much.
also, taught for so long, and you've been on so many sides of the business. So can you tell me a little bit about the value of a feminine look and energy on the work as far as training is concerned?
I can only talk from my perspective.
Great.
Okay?
I love it.
There's a nurturing element, and then there's the steel element. Okay, and so I like to call it tough love, whereas it's almost like a mom, where a mom will say, "No, that's not right," but and then when you get it right, they hug you.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Also, I think women have a different passion around it.
Tell me about that.
Well, there's a little less ego around it. And I'm only speaking about that because of the many men teachers that I had
Yes.
that went on and on and on
Yes.
about themselves
Yes.
when it's not about them, it's about the students.
Yes. And I want to be so clear, not all acting teachers, but I started realizing I wanted certain actors to go to certain places, and there was no female representation for me to send them to. And some of them were like really, stupid, hot, and beautiful. I don't mean like they're stupid people, but like they're so hot and beautiful that I'm like, I don't even want to sit next to you because I will just disappear into nothing, right? And incredible people, really lovely and really talented. And I worried that all of their talent would sort of take a back seat to how attractive they are. And not
because they push them through. They push
Right.
them through.
That's
and they
right.
go, oh, well, that was really good. That
Yes.
was really good. And they
Right.
don't want to create any conflict with them because because everything that they do is good. They just can't wait to look at them again.
Right. And
So they don't really see anything else.
And I just want to say, no blame on that. I really want to be honest in that. Like, no blame. Like, I have watched men's reels that are so handsome, and I think, like, Yeah, I'm entertained. Oh, that was really good. It's because they're so handsome that I'm like, that was really hot. I think you're great. So I understand.
Did you notice her tone change? That was really funny.
Like,
You're
you're
like,
really
it just
great.
dropped down, and it's like, oh my God.
You're so great. I love
So
it, real.
great.
So I get it. I absolutely get it. And I think it's because I get it that I can speak so honestly about that. And so if you are a person,
You also have to feel safe, okay? I mean,
can we
it's
just,
really,
say about
it's
that?
really important to feel safe.
If you're a person who has boundary issues, I just need you to know that about yourself and know that if you're a person that has a hard time with a person of status that's maybe higher than you in your point of view, being a little subservient to that person,
That's not going to help your acting.
that's not going to help your acting. And just know that about you. It's not personal. It's not because that teacher is a bad person or anything like that.
No, because you're
It's
picking up
just-
that energy from them, and it's cueing you to this whole nother direction.
Right. And is that going to be helpful to you?
The craft needs to come first, and you guys, you got to get out of the way and have your artistry come first, because that's what you're selling. You're selling your artistry, and if you can't get to your artistry,
I just love everything you just said about that.
Thank you.
If you can't get to your artistry, then what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to move on to a really hot topic that I
Okay.
know you have a lot of perspective and interest in. Please, God, can we talk about representation? What is going on? What are they looking for when you take an actor as a, hot coach in this town who is responsible for 1 trillion series regulars? You have clout in your connections from talent. And this is true for a lot of coaches around all the major areas, right? There's a coach who's like, this person is somebody you should look at. And then translating that into then meetings and then solid representation that then equals auditions. What is it that you are trying to accumulate out of that actor, or that they might have already come with, that makes you feel like, okay, you're ready to go, versus somebody that you feel like, okay, you're not in a position where you can get reps and auditions yet?
The thing is that, I mean, I've been saying this for many years, but I'll say it again because a lot of your people don't know this.
Yeah.
Okay, or maybe this is the first time that you've met me.
Yes.
Your package has to be as great as your talent.
I mean, listen, you guys, listen to me. So many of you are putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. I had one guy that I knew from a friend, and he was talking to me, and he was like, I want all these jobs. And so I said to him, what do you think your casting is? And basically he was like, I'm Ryan Gosling. And I said, great. So honest question. Have you been acting professionally in Canada since you were like 5? No. Great. So maybe you're not in a position to be capturing the roles Ryan Gosling captured at the age that you currently are when he was at that age. And he was like, right. And I said, so now, just given the landscape right now, roles that you would actually go out for, roles that you actually had a chance to book, which are these co-star roles, these maybe one-day guest star roles. Maybe you're lucky you have some special skill and they give you like an actual guest lead opportunity. Mm-hmm. What is that casting?
Yeah, what does that look like?
And he had no idea.
That's what that's the thing, I mean, I don't want to take it away from the guy because he's got a dream, but let's be realistic, guys, okay?
Well, I said that to him.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
exactly. Of course you said that to him.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what that dream would consist of, okay? Mm-hmm. You guys, we're in a Snapchat society, you know, and we have to get you within a couple of seconds.
I call it a quick read.
Yeah. We have to get it, And so I put together all these comprehensive packages, meaning that you have to be comprehensive. So it needs to feel like you're explaining to them where you fit, which is what Audrey is saying. The guy is not realistic as to who has his job on television.
Yes.
Okay?
Right.
And so you can want that career.
And I want
think
that for
it's
you.
great. That's
Yeah.
great. But you have to do all these other steps before you get there.
Yes, possibly. And here's the truth. There might be a world in which he's working at his restaurant and somebody's like, you know what?
It happens.
You're amazing.
It happens.
It happens. And so I don't want to take away that possibility. I would die for that to happen to you. I'm so excited for the random possibility that it happens. And I want that for you. In the meantime,
but you
how's
need to
it
be
working
ready.
for you right
need
now?
to be ready for that.
You do.
I talk about the shoe in the shoe store. I think I did that on the last podcast.
I don't think you did.
No?
No,
You're a shoe in the shoe store. Okay, guys, you're a shoe in the shoe store.
Yes.
And the shoe's not selling.
Yes.
And the agent looks at the shoe and says, screw it, I'll get another shoe. Okay?
Yes,
That's what the
that's all
agent
it
does.
is.
That's what the
That's
agent
all it
does.
is.
Now, what a manager does
Yes.
is they look at the shoe and they say, maybe we should change the color of the shoe. You know what? Maybe the lighting's wrong. Let's move it to the other side of the store. Maybe the heel's too short. Maybe we should make it bigger.
Put it with those shoes
Let's
over
put it with
there.
those shoes over there.
Yeah.
Let's change the point of it. Maybe it needs to be more square.
Right.
Or hell, you know what? Let's get rid of the shoe and start over. But the point is, I am going to be with you the whole time.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And so those are the people that you want to be with. But those people today is not the way it was years ago. There are no career building. There's only a couple existing.
But
only a couple career building managers, okay?
And can I explain the math of why that is? The amount of money you make as a career building actor is greatly different from the amount of money you made as a career building actor
Exactly.
in the 90s.
And
you used to be able to book 5 jobs in the 90s and you would be able to support a family. I have friends who are second generation actors and their parents supported their families
on commercials,
or on guest stars and co-stars. Like
they're not paying that money anymore.
And so it's not valuable. They cannot pay their rent anymore to develop you. So it's not personal. Okay, I want to move on to alignment, you guys. Here's what it is. You have a sense of self. You have an essence. You have a way you look. You have a vocal quality, which almost all of you forget about. Listen to Amy's vocal quality. She's a very distinct vocal quality. I have a sort of upper register, high sort of cheekbone resonating registry. Okay. Now, if I did this podcast and I talk like this all the time, this would be a very different podcast, but I don't. I talk like this because I'm excited and I like sort of live in this
I'd want to buy makeup
right?
from you.
Right. Exactly. So when you're thinking about your casting, it has so much to do. Your height, your body type, all of these things. And some of you are like a little mishmash in what all of that is and how you put that together. But when you put it together and then you have photos that match that, and then you have footage that matches that, and then you have shows and relationships with casting directors that cast the things that those things match,
then you're in business.
Then you're in fucking business,
yeah,
you guys.
then you're in business.
That's alignment if you're talented. But what most of you do is you go and you get headshots in your favorite fucking shirt or your favorite dress, or you want to look like a model or whatever it is. And so I call those sad headshots because they're sad.
I call them random.
Yeah, not because
they're just random,
and not because they're not good quality headshots.
But this is what the reps end up saying,
right?
Okay, because I'm talking to reps all the time.
I love it. Tell me what the reps
they're always
say.
asking me for people.
Yes,
they're saying I don't know what to do with them.
Yes.
Okay? And you guys, and I'm sure you've heard that. I don't know what to do with you. You're really interesting. I love you, but I don't know what to do with you because you haven't figured out where you fit. And
where
so
you go.
So if you figure out where you fit, you will never hear that comment again. Because what you want to do is excite them. Oh my God, you play this,
you're
this,
not
this,
excited
this,
about
this.
you? Why would they be excited about you?
No, but I mean in terms of all the characters you play.
I understand.
Yeah.
But I also want to reiterate, if you don't come in excited about you equaling a lot of money, why would they be excited? You see what I'm saying?
Yes, so that would open it up. But that's the point.
So anything more do you want to say about representation?
Well, I was on the other side for a long time. Oh, I got to tell you something.
Oh, God, I love it.
Believe it or not, Sean Hayes came in for representation before Will and Grace.
Oh,
okay. He was we had a piano in the office and he got on the piano, he started playing. He was bouncing off the walls, okay?
As he does.
Okay, right.
Right.
We didn't take him because we thought he was too much. But guys, it is that too much that got him the show, okay? Right. But the point of the matter is that when he came in for the appointment, he entertained us. I'm positive that he got a crap load of offers. But you guys, you're in the entertainment business. Don't go into your interviews like it's a corporate interview. I need you to go in and entertain.
Yes.
And I don't mean like do a stand-up comedy routine or something, but talk about something that just really that you love.
Yeah.
Even if it's gardening.
Yes.
Even if it's this great like hot yoga class that you take and then you love sweating and you don't mind slipping on other people's sweat or whatever. Whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But start with the interview process of like where you're from and something fun about the town that you grew up in and what you did as a kid.
And can I say, even if you don't like where you're from, but you can have joy in the telling about how much you're glad that you don't live in that town anymore.
And the reason why. That's
like,
funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's funny.
And also not everyone, I know for some of you who are major introverts, I want to talk to you for a second. There is a way, and I know it because I know you all, because you're all like my best friends, to be introverted and still be charming and engaging. And you just have to know that you're introverted. And one of my favorite things is when people go like, okay, I'm so excited to be here. I'm super awkward because I'm a little bit introverted, but I'm excited to be here. And they call it out in the beginning. And that to me always puts the honesty in the room. It leads with authenticity. It leads with some of you, your casting is awkward.
Yeah.
Right?
So then just be that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like if your casting is awkward and then you're going to come in and be awkward, say
then
like,
be that.
I'm being
this
really
is me.
awkward, but this is my casting.
This is what I play.
You know, and that's charming and that's engaging.
Yes.
Right?
But make a list before you go in, like, of things to talk about.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I think that's great. Anything in particular that an actor comes to you or comes to a rep that you're like, oh, you're an easy sell.
Yeah, they just want to get into business with you because they like you, you know? And another thing is that towards the end, you could talk about acting, but never dog who you're with. Never talk about what didn't work. Evade it. Like ask me, why are you leaving leaving?
So why are you currently leaving your reps? What's going on?
Why does anybody leave anybody, really? I mean, you know, we're just not a match, you know? It's like, it was great at the beginning. The first 3 months we were on our honeymoon phase, you know? Just keep it light and silly because if you talk badly about them, they're going to think you're going to talk bad about them when you leave them. So
I love that.
So just go around the corner. And another age, when people ask about age, so let's cover that.
So how old are you?
That's so funny because I was, you know, somebody asked me that the other day and I was like, you know, I'm old enough to drink.
Yeah.
And I'm old enough to do like liquor commercials.
You know what I do that where you ask me the same question.
How old are you?
Oh, you know I'm not going to tell you how old I am.
Yeah.
I just straight up am like, no. And then I laugh about it.
Yeah.
Because they're cool. They're like,
oh,
no, but really
or
how...
you could say, if I told you, I'd have to kill you, you know?
Yeah, any of that,
you could just say,
no,
just,
but really,
just like,
how
what
old
really,
are you?
well, I tell you the truth. I'll give you a range.
Okay, great. Yeah.
I'll give you a range.
Yeah. Any more things that you want to talk about that?
You guys, it's really, really, really important. If they ask you, do you have any questions? Okay, so
good.
Tell me, do you have any questions?
Do you have any questions?
No, you guys, I did my research on you. You guys come highly recommended. I love you guys.
Oh, I love that answer.
No, don't ask questions. You know why? Now, years ago, everybody said ask questions.
Yeah.
Because then it seems like you're interested, blah, blah, blah. But today, unfortunately, if you ask any questions to anybody about anything, it appears high maintenance. It's really sad, but it's true. Yeah. That it appears high maintenance. Like, ask me the question and I'll be them. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So do you have any questions?
Yeah. Do you have my type? Because I just want to know if you have my type. And, like, how do you guys like to, like, keep in touch? Like, first off, they never said they wanted a second date, okay? And secondly, they would never have called you in unless they thought they had a hole.
Right.
They had a hole in their...
The best thing I've heard about the type, can I say, is an agent that I know very well said, you know, when you ask me if I have a lot in your type, here's what you have to understand. You can't know how many I need of your type because say I need, he's like, this happened this week. I needed young blonde women in their early to mid 20s. And I had one girl who was booked on a series, so I couldn't do her. I had another girl who was out of town, going to a wedding. And then I had another girl who was good for it, but they wanted 2 slots. And then my other girl, I just didn't think was quite right for it. So I need another one.
I love that.
And I was like, yeah. And so he said, you might look and see, well, there are 5 of me.
Yeah.
But you don't know what I know about them to know that one of them isn't quite like the others or to which degree they're different.
They're not
right?
the same. They're not the same.
There
They would
might
know.
be 2 of you that I could bring in for a role, but you book it for different reasons.
Which they would find that out during the interview.
Yes, that's right.
And that's why they call you in. Sometimes they'll call you in and they'll be like, I just wanted to see if you are a conflict.
Love that.
And so a lot of times, you guys, I'm sure you're hearing stuff that you hear all the time.
No, I
so
love
that's why they
that.
bring you in. And then I realized after talking to you, you're not.
Oh, I love that because that's never occurred to me. And I think that's really great. It's like, because you guys know, like, you know people that are sort of similar, right? And you're like, you could all go out together, but go out for an audition, not like go out on a date, but like go out on an audition together and you'd be all in the same room. But the reason I would book this person versus the reason I would book that person would be 2 very different reasons. But I could bring you in to the same room. And in knowing the person is when you find out, are you different enough? Do you bring something different enough that I'm not worried about it really being a conflict?
Yeah.
Or maybe they're going to drop that person. Like, you just don't know.
It could be that they're thinking about
Right.
it because they're not performing or they're flaky or whatever
Whatever
the
it
reason
is.
may be.
Right.
So anyway, don't ask.
Don't ask that question.
Don't
I
ask
love the
questions.
answer that you gave. That's so good.
Don't ask questions.
No, I've done my research on you guys, and you come highly recommended.
And finally,
I
think that make sure that you see the 5-year plan. Okay.
Yeah.
They might ask, what shows do you think you belong on? So you should have like a whole list in your mind.
What casting director
Yes.
relationships do you have relationships with?
They might ask that.
Yeah,
But they're looking at like how realistic you are.
Oh, God.
And so that's why they're asking that question. So they're saying, well, how do you see yourself?
Yes.
Like, and like when people meet me, like you have to have like, I'm a cross between. Like I'm a
Yes.
cross between Jennifer Coolidge,
Yeah.
Bette Midler, Goldie Hawn, and Kirstie Alley.
Ooh, love. Yes, love. Yes.
Would
I
you
think
add
that's
anybody
great.
else to that mix?
No, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's what you
Yeah.
want, you guys. You have to have like what
Yeah.
you're a cross between. And
Oh,
so
I
I'm
love
like
that.
a little bit of all those people.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's delicious.
Yeah.
It makes me like, yum, yum, yum. But wait, Amy, wait. I have to interrupt you.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you shit you didn't know about your union.
This shit you don't know about your union/business is brought to you by audible.com. That's audible.com. So we have set up a tiny URL. If you don't know what that is, it's like a shortcut link. So that's tinyurl.com/Audrey Books, AudreyBooks, because Audrey books a lot, you guys. And with that, you're going to get 2 free books from Audible, which is just really great. One of them can be this Amy Linden book, The Linden Technique, which she says is available on Audible. So you guys have got a lot of time to kill on the road in these auditions. When you're done listening to my podcast, please, listen to something that, inspires you, informs you, sparks joy. Okay. Love it. tinyurl.com/Audrey Books for 2 free books. That will also be in the show notes. If you want to find the link, it will be in the show notes. Okay, so today, for shit you don't know about your union, it's really shit you don't know about your business /union/ what's going on right now. So there is an article posted on Deadline. Several major media companies signal concerns about Georgia abortion law update. I just want you guys to know a little bit about what's going on in case you're not aware. Those of you who are thinking about moving to Atlanta, those who are thinking about moving to the southern market, I just want you to sort of know what's happening. So lots of companies are pulling out overtly and some of them covertly from the Georgia market. Now, other states have gone ahead and are in the works of passing similar laws, but Atlanta obviously has these tax cuts, which has made the business really viable. Everybody from Disney to Warner to everybody has come out and said that if this bill is passed, then they will be taking their business elsewhere. Also have heard from people who have had conversations with their reps in the South that have told them that already about half of the auditions are gone. So that's something to look at. And the rumor mill is that those markets will be moving over to New Mexico and over to Canada. So I just want you to know what's going on. You feel however you want to feel about that, depending on where you are. And I just want you to be informed. Okay, another thing I really want to talk about is this actor New Year calendar. So this is something I'm pretty passionate about because you guys, like most of us, are just a little bit unaware of what the calendar really looks like. And I want you to know that July, the first Monday of July, is when fall episodics really come back. Okay, so this is everything that's on network television that is doing, the one, it's usually like 18 to 24 episodes a season. And what's really great about these jobs and these credits is, first of all, the pay is the best out of any of the jobs. The second thing is the credits on your resume are very recognizable. So if you are booking any of these new shows, everybody has heard about them. Agents have heard about them. Casting directors have heard about them. So it's an automatic, quick recognition. You don't have to be like, oh, actually, it was this weird show that nobody heard of that was on blah, 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 Pop TV streaming service. They know what it is. The other thing is that the footage comes out pretty fast. So the turnaround from when you film to when it airs is really quick. So I really like making these target and knowing who's casting them and knowing when they start back up in production. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to go ahead and Google Fall TV Grid, and you're going to see a 2019 Fall TV Grid. And in red, it's going to have in bold all of the new shows. And it's just really important to go through that grid and start looking at what's new, what have you seen, what have you not seen. I can't tell you the number of actors I meet around town who talk to me, they're fans of the podcast, and then I ask them, what shows they're targeting, and they're like, I just don't have any idea how to target, and they're targeting shows that shoot in Vancouver when they don't have a single co-star, and I just have to let them know, well, you're not going to book that show because they're not going to fly you out to Canada if you have no credits on your resume. So it's really important to know what your resume level is. So if they're going to travel you or they're not going to travel you, and then make sure that you watch all of the shows that you have a likelihood of being cast in. So for me, Audrey, I watch every show except for the ones that only cast and shoot in New York because there are lots of me in New York. And if I'm competing against all the actresses like me in New York, I don't feel that's the best investment of my time because they're not going to travel me to go and put me up and shoot in New York. I don't have anything super cool and special about me that, in my opinion, would make it worth it for them to not just hire a version of me in New York City. However, if the show is shooting in Atlanta, if it's shooting in New Mexico, if it's shooting in Canada, if it's shooting overseas, I am competitive. Now, I might be competing with other New York actresses in that instance, but they're going to have to travel in New York or they're going to have to travel me. So any of us is going to be traveled. And so that is an even playing field for competition. So what I recommend you do is you go through this TV grid, you start looking up every single show. If you don't know the show, I need you to watch it. All the trailers are available online now. They're like 5-minute trailers, so you can get a really good sense of the tone. If it's right for you, then you need to write it down, find out who's casting. Know that often the person who casts the pilot is not the person who's going to be casting the actual TV show. Often they're separate casting directors, and make sure that you stay on top of that. And then if they're doing workshops, you want to go around, see if you can sign up for a workshop with them. It's really great to get on a show that's going to blow up before it's blown up. So now's a good time to get ahead of the curve. And you guys, as people who have this information, Amy says in this podcast, and it's so true, the difference between the people who book and the people who don't book is the people who book just have more information and they just use it to their advantage. That's exactly what this is. Find out what shows you're right for. Find out what the new shows, the tones are. Read the pilots if you can find them. Watch the episodes. If there are shows that are casting in your area, you absolutely need to know who they are. If they're shooting in your area, casting in your area, and they're right for you, you have to know who those casting directors are, and then you have to make sure that they know who you are. All right, you guys. Good luck.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
The next thing I want to talk to you about is, it's my new favorite question for people in your position who've had such a depth of experience with actors on all different realms and levels. And as you said, you've had 40-something series regulars under your belt that you have helped along that journey. And I think what people are really interested in knowing is what are some of the things that they have in common that make them have the success that they had? And also, is there anything that is a flag to you when you're meeting with people that you feel like you're not ready, or this isn't for you, or whatever that is?
What they all share, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're the best talent ever. I just want you to know the best talent ever, they don't always get the job.
Yeah, that's
And I really need you guys to know that, that the people that are working, it doesn't make them better than you. And I really need you to know that the people that are working does not make them better than you. They just have more information than you. And they are accessing the information that they know, and they're actually applying it. And that is the kernel of truth.
Can I say that's really true for me? I feel like that's everything for me. Like the difference between me now and the difference between me when I wasn't booking. When I wasn't booking, I mean, I hopefully have grown as an actor, but it is exactly what you said. I started getting more information. I started applying that information and executing that information.
That's all it is. So I would say that what everybody had in common was their ability to take the information and not quit around it.
Milton had a word for that. He called it flinching.
Yeah,
So
it
don't
is.
flinch.
It is a flinch because a career is based on momentum, and so if you pull off of that energy, that momentum, it takes a lot to build it back up again. And if you keep dropping in, it's the negativity is going to multiply.
It's just like if you're training for a marathon, but you're not training consistently. If you're like, I'm really good at running, but then I'm going to take like a month off and throw a tantrum about it. And then you hate not running. So then you start running again. And then it's like you're going to continue to get to the same point until you need to push through that part that's hard.
It's really hard. It's really hard for people.
It is. You're touching on something that I really want to address, and then we'll get to some flags because I think we should discuss them together. But one of the things I really want to talk about that you brought up is the relationship between your teacher, your coach, and you as a student. And I want to really reiterate some value, which is, if we're using the Olympic analogy, right? The Olympic coaches are the best of the coaches, and they don't have to take who they don't want to take. And this is something that I'm noticing in Los Angeles, that people are like, well, I tried to book with this photographer and they're just really hard to book with. And I'm like, that's right. They're really hard to book with because they're the best. And so if you want the best, you have to push through all the noise of all the people who are trying to get with that photographer, and you have to get it. And it's not fair. And if this was Ohio, they would just be happy to have your business, but it's not. It's the cream of the crop. If you're in these acting communities, if you're in Atlanta, if you're in Los Angeles, if you're in New York, if you're in Chicago, these people are operating on a high level. And if they're slammed and they're booked out, that's because what they have been giving out as a resource is really valuable. And so how you behave with your acting teacher and your acting coach is really important to have some perspective on. You need to answer your communications. You need to not ghost. You need to do your work and exceed it, and you need to continue to inspire them. And that doesn't mean that you have to operate at like your best every time because everyone's human. But just like you're saying, Amy, of like in that time when it's hard to push through, they need to see that you're wanting to push through, that it's hard, but you want to give it the go.
Yeah, we're in it together.
I'm with you. I feel you.
Yes.
Okay, good. I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Now let's talk about some red flags because I think it's important. Here's some,
My biggest red flag is people that think they know it all and they come to me and you know what I mean?
I do.
So I don't like that kind of a client. I like people that are like, you know what? I want to be better. I want to get out there. This is what I want. How can we get there?
I would say one of the big flags to me is actors who shit on actors is a real big flag for me. When actors shit on other actors, that to me is an indication that they are not in a place where they're going to progress. And Milton used to call it, you can't have that which you begrudge.
It's just an awful thing. I'm actually not around that, fortunately.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I'm not around that, but I see it. I can see it. Like when I was back being an actor in the acting circles, going to class,
right?
I saw it.
Yeah,
I saw it a lot.
And I would always say, like, these are your people, like these, and you don't have to like all actors. Like there are some actors I'm like, I could not hang out with you, but actors as a whole, like the people that are your people. I don't understand how you can want to be an actor and then also hate actors.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
To me doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's putting yourself above the profession, and you can't put yourself above the profession.
We can all learn from each other,
Absolutely.
You just got to stay open to it.
Yeah.
To learn from each other.
Yeah. Okay, so let's end with our final questions.
Yes.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, you come highly recommended.
Call back. Call fucking back, you guys. That was amazing. Okay, good.
I love you guys.
I love you
I'm
guys.
so honored. I'm so honored to be back on the show and everybody is loving Audrey. And I'm just so excited that she's doing this. And,
Yeah.
and you guys just, send her a bunch of flowers or something. No, I love all of you guys. And you could keep in touch with me. Go to thelindentechnique.com and you can get the audiobook. It's free when you're a member of Audible.
Fantastic.
And so you can just drive around listening to me,
that.
basically beating you up on every guideline.
Right. When you're done having me beat you up on a podcast, she can beat you up on Audible. It's so great.
Yeah. So, and Audrey's got like 40 other podcasts.
Yeah.
So share it with your friends.
Yes. And
because it really helps
It does,
actors.
doesn't
I'm
it?
telling you, it really helps actors. Guys, I had a waitress cry when she found out it was me. I was
tell them
sitting
the
at that.
story.
No, I'm not going to tell. I'm just saying that she was like, "Oh my God, I just heard you yesterday." So everybody's here listening to Audrey Helps Actors. Share it with your actor friends, guys. Actors have to start sharing.
Yeah.
Share it with your actor
And
friends.
there's a desire, I feel, among us to share and to be shared with.
Yes, I think it's just really important.
My final question is,
Yes.
We always end with mildly interesting. Anything that you'd like to share, recommend, that you know of, that you like, that is mildly interesting.
I just finished The Magic. I did 28 days of gratefulness. And so The Magic is put out by the woman that wrote The Secret.
Oh.
And so I need to really go through more of the gratefulness. But, guys, I'm doing the work. I need to feel centered and grateful. I have to be clear in order to do the kind of work that I want to do. And so I would say The Magic is superb.
I love that.
It's every day you read a chapter and you do the exercises and you write 10 things you're grateful for and you just say thank you. Like I would say, thank you, I'm grateful for Audrey for coming over today and doing the podcast.
Yes.
And I'm grateful for all you guys listening. And I love actors and I just love everything about this business.
Yeah. My mildly interesting is super dark. So we'll end on like a really dark note.
I want to
You
hear it. I
guys,
want to hear it.
I found out like my favorite thread on Reddit, one of my favorite threads is Today I Learned. And it was Today I Learned that there was a huge pro-Nazi movement in the United States during the 40s of people wanting to adopt Nazi propaganda, Nazi.
That's crazy.
And they have photos. You Google it, you guys. Photos where they sold out and filled Madison Square Garden, and it's these huge banners of swastikas and pro-Nazi people in Manhattan in Madison Square Garden. Go look it up. It's so crazy. I love like
When
the
was
random
this?
in the 40s during the war.
It's disgusting.
Isn't it crazy?
I just think it's disgusting that they let that happen.
Well, and then that then we
You
don't
know?
know about that. Like that's what I love is I love these like pockets of history that were
That
very
that
real
nobody knew about,
that we
yeah.
just
Yeah.
leave out of the history books. Like there was nobody doing that because then it makes our current time then feel so shocking because you're like, well, that can't happen. We don't do that. But if we had known that even something like that was going on at that time, which we are now all so adamantly against, then it makes this understanding that it's never done, it's always a fought for thing, so much clearer, but we got to know.
I think that's great.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I love
Wow.
it. Okay, good. So that's my mile in a string.
I love it.
Okay, well, Amy, thank you so much. I thought we
you.
had such a great
Oh my
conversation.
goodness.
I'm so excited.
Great. Bye, guys.
All right, bye. Next week on Audrey Helps Actors, we've got an acting teacher and coach, John Dapolito from New York City. So you guys, I always like to try as best I can to get people from other markets. And John was recommended to me by the one Buckley Sampson, who I super love. And I wanted to have him on. He was in town doing some of his work in Los Angeles that he always does in New York City. And I just wanted to have him on and we chat a little bit about the difference between the two markets and how the two actors are a little bit different in how they approach the work. If you are somebody who is just interested in another perspective, if you're somebody who's interested in New York and how LA works, or in LA and how New York works, I think this is a good conversation about that. Special thanks today to Amy Linden. Amy Linden, girl, you're so great. And I just think, I love when I talk to people and I'm like, yes, that's true. Yes, I know. Yes, you're right. Yes, exactly. She continues to awaken and inspire me, and so much of what she says really resonates with me as true on both an experiential level and also just a fantastic level. So I hope that you too are inspired by this conversation. Thanks, Amy. This show is produced by Jesse Lumen, my now husband. What's up? You guys, he's still so handsome. This episode is edited by Patricia Cuffie-Jones and Thomas Snodgrass. Also, shout out to Thomas for the mic assistance now and then. It's still good to have your sound guy across the street. Show music is brought to you by Ari De Niro. Theme song assistance is by Aalok Mehta and 108 Hill. All right, you guys, don't forget your towel.